21%. That is how far this stock climbed between August 5 and August 26. During that window, Google and Nvidia spotlighted the same company. That timing does not prove those posts caused the rally. However, it was enough to get my attention. The stock is UiPath. I do not own it. I am neutral today. However, Path has earned a place on my watch list. So here's the first important distinction. Google and Nvidia are not confirmed UiPath customers. UiPath is using their infrastructure. Google says UiPath moved from isolated clusters to one shared GPU fleet. UiPath uses Nvidia H100 chips for training. It uses Blackwell server chips for much of its document model interface. Interface means the model doing work after training. Google says all training runs on Google Cloud. Most of UiPath's document model interface also runs there. So this is meaningful technical evidence. It shows UiPath can run serious AI workloads, but it does not prove customers will spend more money. Infrastructure proof and investment proof are different things. There's another UiPath number which is circulating. It claims more than 90% AI cost savings for some tasks. The information attributed that claim to UiPath security chief Scott Roberts. He linked the savings to shorter model instructions for repeated tasks. This claim is separate from the Google and Nvidia deployment. The public article does not show the experiment design. We do not know the baseline, task mix, quality bar or human rework, so I cannot isolate the prompt change from other variables. My falsifying metric is total cost per accepted result. I would run a matched production test. Keep the task mix, model, quality bar and speed target fixed. I would count tokens, retries, failures and human review. If total cost is not 90% lower, the claim fails. Until then, I treat 90% as a management claim. The Google case study, however, does offer real customer examples. Omega Healthcare processed more than 100 million transactions. Google reported 99.5% accuracy and 40% lower processing time. It also reported 15,000 fewer repetitive hours each month. Thermo Fisher processed 53% of invoices without human involvement. Google also reported 70% lower processing time there. Those results matter. However, they come from a partner case study. They are not an independent audit. This gives me production evidence, not broad adoption evidence. The missing question is simple. Are these wins becoming repeatable revenue across UiPath's customer base? The social post cannot answer that. The financial statements can help. There is one more current customer example. UiPath says Banco Azteca now orchestrates more than 8,800 enterprise processes. It says the program used more than 300 automations. That strengthens the Maestro deployment story. The release gives no contract value or recurring revenue figure. So this is customer validation, not financial validation. UiPath's latest quarter was stronger. Revenue reached $418 million, up 17% year over year. Annual recurring revenue reached $1.9 billion, up 12%. Existing customers spent 9% more after losses and downgrades. The official net revenue retention rate was 109%. Large customers also expanded. Million-dollar customers rose from 316 to 374. Customers about 100K rose from 2,365 to 2,624. That is the bull case in one picture. UiPath is expanding inside major accounts. Now consider the counterpoint. Total customers moved from about 10,753 to 10,747 last year. That is only 6 fewer customers. The direction still matters. UiPath is deepening large accounts. It is not clearly widening the overall customer base. The financial profile also looks healthier. Adjusted free cash flow was about $130 million last quarter. Cash and marketable investments reached $1.42 billion. GAAP operating margin reached 7%. Stock compensation was $53.3 million. That equaled 12.7% of quarterly revenue. It fell from prior year, which is encouraging. It remains material. Last year's 282 million net income also needs context. Pre-tax income was about $101 million. Operating income was about $57 million. The year included a $182 million income tax benefit. So the profile improvement is real. The headline net income still overstates normal operating power. PATH closed at $16.76 on August 26. That was 21.3% above its August 5 close. Stock analysis showed an 8.68 billion market value. It showed a 7.35 billion enterprise value. UiPath guides to 1.776 billion through 1.781 billion of annual revenue. Using that guide, the stock sits just above 4 times sales. Stock analysis shows 4.4 times trailing sales. Here is my simple valuation frame. At 3 times guided sales, I get about $12.87 per share. At 4 times, I get about $16.3. At 5 times, I get about $19.72. These are not price targets. They show what different valuations could imply. At $16.76, PATH already sits above my middle case. The stock is interesting. But the strongest bull argument is changing. UiPath does not need to build every AI agent. It wants to govern the work those agents perform. UiPath launched Maestro Flow in public preview. It lets coding agents build governed business processes. The supported tools include Codex, Cloud Code, Cursor, and GitHub Copilot. That is a smart strategic response. Coding agents could become inputs into UiPath rather than replacements. So the opportunity is clear. The revenue evidence is not clear yet. Public preview does not equal paid adoption. The bear case is not that UiPath lacks real AI. The Google case study answers that concern. The harder issue is competition and distribution. UiPath lists enterprise platforms, model providers, coding agents, and automation vendors as competitors. It also warns about bundled rival products. Large platforms can include automation within broader contracts. Customers can also build tools internally. Open source options can pressure pricing. So UiPath must prove its orchestration layer stays essential. Google and Nvidia validated the infrastructure, but they did not validate UiPath's moat. UiPath will report their earnings after market closes on September 3rd. UiPath also scheduled an investor day for September 22nd. That is a second update point. It does not replace the September 3 earnings test. I have 4 numbers on my checklist. First, quarterly recurring revenue. Guidance is 1.929 billion through 1.934 billion. Second, full year recurring revenue guidance. The current top is around 2 billion. Third, retention. I want 109% to hold or to improve. Fourth, measurable AI revenue. I want contracts, recurring revenue, or another paid adoption measure. A result above the ranges would strengthen the case. A result inside the ranges would keep me neutral. A miss or guidance cut would weaken the case. More partner posts will not replace those numbers. So, PATH definitely stays on my watch list. Google and Nvidia confirmed something important. UiPath can run meaningful AI workloads at production scale. The stock still needs broader commercial proof. At today's price, I would watch the September results and the investor day. What single number would change your view on UiPath? Make sure you subscribe my channel for more such insights.